So in the last video, I documented the process of me installing the engine and transmission into my 1992 Nissan Hardbody and also the cab. That's where I ended off last video. I also, off camera, installed things like the ECU, wiring harness, ductwork, dash reinforcements, pedals, steering column, even the engine harness. Next thing on our list to do is to get this thing running, so all the wiring's in, all that. We also have this, which is not factory obviously. But to be able to back this thing up, we need to beef up the fuel system. So what I've ordered is a adjustable fuel pressure regulator and just some other things like little fittings and, you know, odds and ends to get this thing to run hopefully right with this turbo setup. I'm only going to be running like 5 pounds of boost, so it's not like anything outrageous, but it will certainly help it not to break up or run lean or anything like that. So in this video I'm going to be documenting how we are going to be installing this and getting it to work with our factory components. So stay tuned and I'll be with y'all in just a second. Alright, so this here is the fuel pressure regulator kit. This specific one comes with a bunch of fittings, AN to barb and AN to like NPT and stuff like that. Just everything that you'll need, it's a universal kit, so it just kind of comes with everything. Come with a gauge, and here is the fuel pressure regulator itself. So basically it takes a vacuum reference through this line, or this barb fitting right here, on the intake manifold, and then your fuel comes out of the rail into here, and then this is where it returns back into the tank. And then here's your little fitting for your gauge, and you adjust it to get like an initial static pressure with this little Allen key bit right here. This is where the fuel pressure regulator used to go. This one used to go where this fitting is right here, and so this will go into the side of it, wherever it sits, and that will just return the fuel pressure back. Any increase in air pressure that's created by this will shut off the diaphragm in there even more to create more pressure in the fuel system, so each pulse of the injector, more fuel should come out. And then of course this gauge is just kind of like to gauge how much, pressure you're running. So now that I finally got my hands on some self-tappers, got a whole 200 pack of them, I'm just going to find something that would fit the best for this application. I just want to find something that will fit snug but not be like way too big. This looks like it'll be about right. Looks good back there, so I'm going to go ahead and take this top piece off and then mount the bracket, because I don't know why they made it like this, but there's no way to get to these whenever it's on the truck. Alright y'all, so I got the fuel pressure regulator mounted to the cab. It's pretty sturdy. Obviously the mount is like a little flexible because it's like thin, like stainless I believe, and it's on the firewall, but it'll hold. It was a pain to install because you got to get this self-tappers in there, and then there's like those little bolts on the back that hold the diaphragm in. It's just a whole nightmare, but got it done. So now it's time to just run my fuel line from this fitting to the one on the black one right down here, and then my air line, and then I gotta find a way to plumb this bottom return hose to the factory return. Honestly, might be easy to just use that line or like to cut it down or something. That's probably what I'll end up doing just to make things easier on myself, because it does come with a barb, so I have to just kind of make that work. Anyways, gonna keep pushing along and getting this thing ready to go. Alright, now our fuel pressure regulator is hooked up correctly. We just need to plumb the return and probably put the gauge in, to be honest. Here's our gauge. Leads up to 100 psi of fuel pressure. That's a lot of fuel pressure. I think static this thing runs like 35 to 40 psi. Alright, so now you can kind of see it back under there. You're looking up here, pop the hood, check the fuel pressure. Okay, it's 0 psi. You can kind of see that. I can't can't really see it that well, but boom. So that system looks honestly clean as of right now. Just kind of routes down, goes underneath the little throttle cable linkage, and everything should be good. I just need to plumb the return now and then get rid of the factory fuel pressure regulator. And I should be all good to go. Whenever this thing fires up, we'll get it dialed in, get the static pressure right, and we will get this thing running nice. Alright, so the next thing on our list to do is to install our O2 sensor. Don't mind that this is a little crunched up looking. It's a factory one. And this bung, because I had to fabricate for the turbo a new downpipe, or a downpipe in general. Never had a downpipe before. But I just fabricated that out of a flange, 5-bolt flange, and a stainless elbow with a flex pipe at the bottom. That's as far as I've gotten so far. I've routed the exhaust underneath the truck, and it ends about like yay, but I still got to figure out the rest of the exhaust for this truck. That's a bridge to cross when we get there. But now we are going to install that bung on this elbow. So I'm going to get this downpipe off and get that welded up. Not the best at welding stainless, but it looks decent, and with that I can go ahead and throw her back on. Now she's on there, looking good. The O2 sensor's still clearing everything. I have that wire come back around probably and tie into something there. I honestly want to try to tuck it all nice and neat, but we'll get that when we get there. But yeah, she's looking good, looking clean. But now that we got that in there, we can go ahead and focus on doing the brake lines and the clutch lines, which I'm getting the hard lines for those tomorrow. I'm getting a whole spool of it, but for y'all that will only be a couple seconds. What's going on, guys? We're back out here. It's the next day, and I've ordered some things to help us work on the brake system. I ordered a spool of brake line and some tools to get them all bent up and fit up the way we need them to be. I just dropped that piece. Basically to get them like this, with this little flare on it, or so I thought. You can't really see it. My camera's not really the best. I use a GoPro, so it is extremely blurry and I cannot get it to focus. But the style of brake line flaring tool I was using, you can kind of see that little edge right there. It doesn't necessarily like clamp the right way. When you clamp the line on it, it like tends to kind of shift side to side right here, and then of course that makes the flare sit all cockeyed. At first I thought it was my cutting tool, so I bought another one. I bought this is a Harbor Freight special. I thought it was this cutting tool, the one that I was using before, that was just cutting it crooked or something. I thought one of the wheels was like out of the track or something, but unfortunately no, it is the flaring tool. But never fear, I did order another one and it's coming. It's a different style. I hear a lot of good stuff about it though. It was like maybe 50 some odd bucks, so not the end of the world. I'm gonna need to use it anyways in the future, so it'd be good to just have it. But that's coming in a couple days. So for now, I want to go ahead and try to do something else to like fill out this video, because I want to get this video uploaded, but I can't finish my braking system. Obviously I started on it. I did this line, which it looks kind of meh, you know, it's like curved weird, and I don't know, I'm nitpicking stuff like that because I'm just like, I don't know, I'm weird about it. But this line, and it goes all the way down to the little clutch proportioning valve thing, and then it has to go to the master cylinder, or the slave cylinder, sorry. So, you know, I got a little stuff done. I still need to make the brake line for the passenger side and the rear, so that's something that I can do once I get my new tool. I may have to remake the ones that I already made just because the flare wasn't good, because it's been happening to all of them, and I was wondering, like, why is that happening? But I just never thought to fix it until now. Luckily, I have a good amount of line left, so we're good there. But now I'm thinking I want to weld in the radiator support, which means I'm probably gonna have to drop this thing back on the ground and just kind of line some body panels up and stuff like that. This thing, I don't know why, but it seems like it's off quite a bit, and this truck was hit on this side. When I bought it, the radiator support that was on there was damaged, and you can see some of the damage. Like, this is some of the stuff I tried to pull out. I was trying to pull that damage out. That is obviously all bent up, and there's just like, it's been crumpled through there. It's not really in the best of shape. I'm thinking that might be factory, this little bump right here, but you know, I had to pull it out right here and stuff like that. So we are going to focus on getting that straightened out and weld it up so I can have a solid front kind of radiator support area, and then I can start to build, like, you know, put the radiator back in, put the intercooler in, all the piping, grills, all that kind of stuff, to just finish this thing up and get it one step closer to running. So stick around, because I'm going to do that today. You know, change of plans, but you know, we roll with it. Sometimes life gives you lemons and you just gotta make lemonade. So alright, so when it comes to welding body panels back on, you kind of want to get everything as fit up as you possibly can. So here I have the core support on. I've got a self-tapper, and I've also like bolted it to the fender in a couple of different spots, and bolted the fender to the chassis, kind of using the fender as a jig. That's like the main thing that you want to do in these situations. So I figured this out by putting this level up here. Oops, not in the most ideal spot, but anyways, it reads 0. I zeroed it out. Obviously it's not sitting perfectly level. I mean, you can tell it's not, but I zeroed it out, and then I moved it down here to like the most level spot I could find. This isn't all like accurate science or anything. This is just like as best as I can do with what I have, but it reads about 0.5 degrees. Oops, sorry. And if I bring this up slightly, 3, 2, 1, 0. So about right there at 0, there's still a pretty big gap. So I need to dolly this out, kind of flatten out these wrinkles right here. And you can see how it's kind of, I don't know if this was like from the factory, like had like a crease in it, but you can see how it kind of has that crease, and this circle's all bent up. So I need to probably like try to dolly all this straight enough to where it like kind of pushes it back up. Underside, I'm honestly thinking that that's kinked right there, but I have no idea. It looks kind of factory, but at the same time I have no idea. It seems like it would have like ripped it up, like, or like, you know, buckled the metal and like split it open or something. Regardless, this whole section's kind of mashed, but you're not really going to see a whole lot of the damage whenever everything's put together. And I mean, I do plan on doing some spirited driving, so let's say in the event that that does happen, I just did all that body work just for it to happen again, you know. So anyways, basically what I'm going to do now is try to dolly that out as flat as possible, and then I'm going to fit up a fender to this side and try to get it like jigged up, kind of like that, and then I'll know where to drill my holes for the plug welds or the spot welds, and then we can get this thing just like locked in place, good to go. Bueno. PSA. Make sure you always have a fire hydrant handy when you're welding, especially indoors. And make sure you're also wearing your OSHA approved welding shoes. You can get these at any major retailers. Very good for welding. Definitely don't burn your feet when you weld. But nah, all jokes aside, y'all, got this welded up all down the side, across there, a bunch right there, and on the bottom. And now we just got to grind them. So say goodbye to these beautiful welds. Just like that, we are welded, grinded down, scuffed, and painted all around. That kind of rhymed. This thing is solid on there. Like I can pull the whole truck by it. I didn't end up grinding and scuffing the backside of the core support right around here because that's just for aesthetics. And you know, you're not going to see it. I'll throw a layer of paint over it. I did, however, stitch weld this on both sides and paint it. I just rubbed the paint off though, I think. So I'll probably hit that with another layer. I appreciate y'all for sticking around and watching. I have more plans for this truck. Obviously, I'm going to do the brake lines. That's probably going to be the next video because I'm still waiting on my tool. But I'll show y'all how I do that, show y'all how I go through that process, because I started to do it on this, but it didn't end up faring out well. But that's okay, because when things happen like that, you just got to improvise, adapt, and overcome. I'm glad that happened because I knocked this out. It was really a blessing in disguise because I didn't want to do that. I've been procrastinating that for so long, but it's done. So now we can move on to more fun things like intercooler piping, and then next few videos, and you know, the brake lines and the fuel system. That'll probably be in a future video. That'll probably be in the next one or two videos. But anyways, just some little stuff, little tedious stuff here and there. You know, you just got to kind of get done to be able to get this thing in operating condition. Me and my buddy were also talking about possibly doing a video where we paint the truck a week before Mini Nats, which if you don't know, it's like a big mini trucking show in Southeast America. You know, like it's in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. But I go every year and I meet my buddy down there, so we were talking about possibly doing a video where we paint this thing the week before Mini Nats and just kind of get together and just knock it all out. That will be a fun video. I've never painted a car before. I'm rambling, but thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, please comment if you want to see something new in the future videos, or if you just have a question, let me know. Subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It would help me out a lot. And share with your friends if you thought this video was fun or interesting or entertaining, or you learned something from this video. Share it with somebody who might need to learn the same thing. Who knows? But like I said, I appreciate y'all for sticking around, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.